Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to quickly address something that I heard on State of the Game, and Yannick was talking about the raid. Hamish, put the question to him, and he was, talking about how there were all these completions for the regular raid and all that stuff, and players were excited about it. And then he talked about how players are now appalled at it because they already now know how to beat it, so it's important that they make a new one. Those were his words. All right, Yannick, whatever. We love you anyways, but dude, come on. So he eventually dropped the news for the next raid, and pretty much the raid is going to be delayed. And I did see some reactions to the negative on the chat, because I'm watching the State of the Game later on. I'm watching the State of the Game, guys. I'm watching it. Don't come here telling me I'm not watching the State of the Game. I'm just letting you know I'm watching it. And some people reacted negatively, but I can say, from the past raid experience that we've had, you can say that that raid did leave all kinds of weird emotions in the community on its way in. And even now that it's on its way out, hopefully, we don't have to deal with it anymore, because it seemed like a very great, improvement or addition to the game. Everybody was so excited when everything was announced initially, but I guess the Division community didn't know exactly how raids worked largely. We had a lot of people from the good old raid days of World of Warcraft, the 100-hour raids and Destiny tell us, hey guys, this is what raids are like, and we were like, what? We don't want that, you know what I mean? And so I guess they're delaying the raid because they say they want to make a better raid. I don't know what the case is, but based on my last video, I did speak about raids versus incursions and talked about how, raids may not be for the Division community as a whole, because the entirety of the way this last raid was deployed did not necessarily serve in terms of accessibility. And one of the things that a lot of people say is, LFG groups are better, or matchmaking is better, or whatever, but we have to go based on the initial marketing of the game. Now, no legal documents were signed. That's one thing about marketing. It's all about handshakes and hype. And when you have things based on handshakes and hype, then you have no commitment. And so even though the developers had marketed, which there was a Twitter screenshot of how matchmaking will be available for all activities in the game, blah, blah, was actually surfacing on the internet. I don't know how valid that is. But many people went into this game with the notion that they were going to have the possibility to matchmake for all the content in the game. And a raid would not have been out of the question. I will still argue any day that a matchmaking system would have really, really helped for accessibility to this raid. And if a bunch of 8 people matchmake and go into the raid and figure out that they can't beat it, what are they going to do? They're not going to, they're not going to yell at anybody else. They're going to look in and say, this is our fault. We can't complete the raid. So I think the developers should have given the matchmaking and left it to the community to be responsible for completing the raid. And if a group of matchmaking, match-made folk is not working for you, then you find yourself in the LFG group. And I think that would have probably resolved a lot of the issues. But I think the developers need to genuinely take a deeper look and look at what raids should look like in the Division 2. And if they can, they probably need to start looking into doing incursions as well. So instead of putting out, now I don't think there will be any major content release. Maybe we'll see something next month. I don't know, but I know for sure they usually wind down the game cycle towards the end of the year. This is just from past experience with Division 1. Things may be different now, but I think they need to start looking into, how advanced missions need to look like. Perhaps the developers can start incorporating in more creative ways things that will keep the community playing. Now, I have an idea that I'm going to share on this video, and I wanted to share it in a separate video, but I don't know how that will make for something that's too big of a discussion. And I think the next step that they can start taking is in using existing missions that's already been created. Then they need to start making what I will call haunted missions. So they have the regular missions. They have them in 3 different difficulties. They have them in the story normal, hard, challenging, and then they have them in invaded mode, which a mission can be in an invaded mode if they rotate them around a specific circle. I genuinely think they probably need to make what we call haunted missions, where hunters take over and you have to go in there and deal with hunters. Now, this is definitely going to add some more flavor and some more depth to the game. Instead of worrying about big raids, which they can delay the raid, I think those of us who are more experienced in this community in a sense can relate to how they probably need to relook at that again and see if they can serve the entire community with content that's coming out like that. And if they have to put a matchmaking system, then they probably need to put it in there. And like I said in my last video, if they're not going to add matchmaking, they might as well just push it back, because the community is not going to stand for that. That was a big slap in the face for a lot of people. But these haunted missions, you know, will, instead of having just the Black Tusk people, it could be however they want to design it. We just want to encounter, you know, more enemy types and in more frequency, because I think the hunters were very, very underused in the game so far. And yes, you know, maybe they have some plans for them down the road, but I think this would probably be something that's really, really good if a mission can just randomly be a haunted mission for, you know, perhaps a week. Perhaps, you know, everyone's playing all the missions, even though the mission might not be invaded, even though the mission might not be a daily. You know, people are looking like, man, we're looking for this haunted missions because we don't know what it is. It's not advertised. It's just, hey, you might be playing Federal Emergency Bunker and it might be a haunted mission this week, or probably you're playing, you know, Space Administration HQ and that could be a haunted mission. And, you know, when somebody finds it out, they run and tell everybody, hey guys, you know, we found the hunters here in Space Admin HQ, you know, this is the haunted mission. Or so, you know, everybody rushes there and everybody's just farming this thing. And then you can put unique rewards that the hunters can drop if people are able to complete these haunted missions. I think there's so many ways to go with this game and provide for replayability that the developers can leverage in a short period of time. I mean, this is something that I feel like they can add to a small update here and there, and it's not necessarily going to, I don't think it's going to be too tasking based on the amount of talent and the amount of people that they have that are able to work on this game with just the snap of a finger. I mean, yes, development is hard and all that, but, you know, this team has a roadmap and they have data and they have assets from an entire 3 years of this particular game. So implementing these things might not be, you know, anything for them to break a sweat over. Now, it might be. I'm speaking from my own lay perspective, and so that's, you know, that's where I'm judging these matters from. But I think that's another way to actually inculcate more content into the game and bring, you know, something fresh that people can be doing. And just imagine you give Division players something that they have to constantly be looking for. My goodness, that's exactly how we roll. We just hear that there's something cool somewhere and everybody jumps on it, and, you know, everybody is just, you know, pretty much playing to find out what it is. There's no announcement. There's no schedule for it like the invaded missions. It's just you might run into hunters in a specific mission for a week and people farm them and they'll get some kind of unique reward. Maybe a keychain, maybe a teddy bear, maybe I don't know, a pickaxe, something silly, maybe a rope or a piece of thread that a hunter drops for you, and people will be happy to get those things. There are a lot of people who engage in cosmetic farming in the Division 2, and they do it, you know, I mean, ceremoniously. They don't play with that thing. And, you know, the developers have to start thinking outside the box. I think they're usually so, you know, within these little boxes, and it's, I don't know what it looks like, but if they would do that, I think the community will be very excited to engage in content like that while we're waiting for the raid or while we're waiting for any expansion or whatever. I genuinely think they should have brought something like that in this Tidal update 6. I think that would have really allowed for people to be able to say, okay, you know, our DLC money feels justified. You know, we don't feel like we're just getting extra missions, but now we're getting some added layer of this new episode. But again, it might not be time to, you know, bring the hunters more into the story, but they were already here since day one, people farming their masks and all that stuff. So I don't know why they're not being utilized as much as possible. Anyways, that's just my take for today and my little snippet from the state of the game. If you guys heard anything else that you want to share, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I want to know what you guys think about the new raid being delayed, about the new update that's coming, and please leave your thoughts in the comment section as well. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for your time and audience. Peace.